Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is me, Pearl from Pearl and the Prayers, and this is Tuned In Tarot. And we are here to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine energy inside of self. Understanding whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see that reflected back to us in our interactions with others and in our external environment. And if we want to see changes, we do need to shift and change the energy within us. Pretty basic. We do it every week together. Thursdays, I have been deciding that we're going to do these readings that are focusing on abundance and prosperity and reducing lack mentality, specifically in regards to material, to our careers, to our finances, etc. And don't forget that these things are usually heavily intertwined with our relationships, with love, etc. So it's all going to apply and be helpful for you no matter what. And I hope you can find the value in it. So let's start how we always start, which is I want you to just settle in for a moment, get centered into your body, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what do you think would make you feel better right now? What would make you feel better right now? And it could be anything. You might want to just go a different layer here just because it's Thursday and we're sort of taking a look at our relationship to our finances, etc. And ask yourself a little deeper, what would make me feel better in regards to my finances or my career? What would make me feel better? And go a little bit deeper into that feeling that feels better and imagine what it would feel like if that thing that happened did happen. Just kind of go there for a few seconds with me and think like, oh, if that happened, oh, I would feel so good. I would be able to do this and like just get into that feeling. Feel the feelings of what it would feel like in your body. Like if you were going to pay off a big debt, would it feel like there was less heaviness in your shoulders, less tense feelings in your back? Like actually feel the physical feelings that you would associate with this experience of feeling better. Okay. So that was a good exercise for you for a couple of reasons. Number one, you explored what you think you need that would make you feel better. So now you're aware of what your mind, your ego, is sort of thinking is going to make you feel better. But what's more important is that you took it another layer and you went into the feelings you were having. And the feelings you are having are in essence, the feelings are what you are seeking, right? So you want to feel the feelings that you just felt. And your brain is teaching you or telling you that there's these certain things that will create these feelings. So you've now spent some time. You didn't have to spend that long. You could have just spent about 16 seconds in it. Doesn't even matter. But you spent some time feeling what it feels like to feel relief. If you were thinking of paying a debt and it was like a burden that was lifted, or excitement if you were going to have enough financial success to go after whatever it was that you desired. So you just got into the feeling of it. And the feeling is what you were looking for. So you found what you were looking for by imagining the feeling. All of that was just embedded in that exercise. And the other part is whatever you thought would make you feel that feeling, here's a little bit of insight. This is what will actually give you the feeling that you are seeking. The Queen of Pentacles. So this is a feeling of stability and consistent growth and expansion, a certainty that your gifts are turning into material wealth and abundance, something that you are nurturing and caring for and bringing attention to. It's turning into something that you can really touch and feel and experience in the material. You are at the top of your game in this energy. You are able to delegate. You're able to make sure that things get done, and you're overseeing and looking at all the bounty you have from this perspective. So this is what you would actually need to feel better. Now, this is maybe counterintuitive because this means that you are taking a look at your finances. because you can see them and feel confident about them. So this means you're not ignoring it. You're not pretending it's not happening. You're able to see it, and you're able to see the future of it and how it's going to grow. That gives you the sense of stability that you need. Not looking at your situation is something that is making you feel unstable, but actually looking at the reality of it does help to ground you, because if you feel that you have the ability to achieve whatever it is that you are desiring by nurturing it, consistently showing up for it, you can see the future growth, even if you're starting with a very small seed at this point. And that's the beauty of this energy of the Queen of Pentacles. So interesting that we are going to do a career finances type of a focus today to help us get really into that feeling that we need to have in order to attract a person into our lives that feels confident and able to communicate and feel like they have enough to offer, etc. We have to feel that. And then we get this image of the feminine really owning that aspect of self, that she has the ability to intuitively nurture and grow and expand a lot of abundance. So that's pretty cool. If you're just joining me here on TikTok, I'm also live streaming to YouTube. And the live stream will be available for replay if you can't stay for the entire reading. It is going to be probably an hour at least. We're doing a deep dive into the masculine and feminine energy in regards to releasing something that's blocking us from believing in our abundance, and then rebuilding from this place where we've released to actually be able to claim the abundance that we are seeking. And this energy is connected to our ability to achieve stability in relationships as well. So it's all connected. And I encourage you to have as much interest in your own financial prosperity, health, and wellness as you do in relationship in your life. If you don't, you're representing that imbalance of the masculine to feminine energy by not being interested enough in protecting and providing for self. You seek it from someone else, creating an imbalance as soon as you enter into the relationship. And this does not mean that every person has to make all an equal amount of abundance materially in a relationship, but that their value needs to feel the same. So if you're not creating wealth with a certain task that you're doing in your environment, you're feeling that worthiness regardless of the work that you're doing. So that, I feel like I should say that. It's not like you have to be tit for tat making the same amount of wealth. You just have to feel the abundance and the openness to receive it in an equal way. Okay. Let us start looking at the Empress side. So we begin first with the general energy. So this is just what's surrounding the energy involving what needs to be released right now. And we're getting the Queen of Swords in reverse and the Queen of Pentacles. And we already saw her today as the theme that we actually need. So what's surrounding this energy right now is we are overthinking our financial health, wealth, fertility, abundance. We are overthinking. We are also probably trying to force the timeline of the creation, the thing that we're making. We're over strategizing. We could be in some ways even maybe being manipulative with our energy. But I think it's towards the self though, like using harsh criticism to try to push ourselves to feel abundant and prosperous, where what we really need to be doing is changing the way that we are thinking about ourselves. We might be afraid that we don't have the capacity to manage or strategize the abundance we do have. And so I'm getting a lot of harsh self-criticism in this general energy surrounding where we feel blocked in receiving our abundance. So the hidden assistance, the thing that's helping us that we don't realize is actually helpful, is the amount of fantasizing we're doing. This is the Four of Cups upright. Hi, Ash, welcome. And the Seven of Cups upright, and it's saying choices on the bottom of this card. So the missed opportunities here, this fantasy that we're missing out or something, that we keep creating all these we have all these ideas. We could do this. I 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 could do that. I could do this. And there's an overwhelmment here of not knowing exactly what's going to fit or work. But remember, this is our hidden assistance, our ability to dream at this level, to create so many opportunities and options is actually going to be something that's going to help us bring a lot of abundance to us. The problem is that we need to be able to direct that energy with some kind of a strategy. So all of this overwhelming of how many ideas we have and how lucrative and abundant they could all be, that's overwhelming us, but that's actually going to be very helpful for us in the future as soon as we start to implement some kind of strategy with these ideas, which is kind of cool. So, what is the past experience that we need to release? So this is the release part of the spread. The feminine, it is the feminine energy inside of self, and the one in your person. This is the energy that performs this release. And what do we actually need to release? And we're seeing the Hanged Man energy and the Three of Swords in reverse. And it says sorrow here on the bottom of this card. So we are needing to release this energy of feeling like we need to get more perspective on why we're not abundant. We're focused so much on like the wounds that we had that would cause us to not be able to embrace wealth, that we're literally reactivating these wounds or charging them again and again as we look at the wound. So we want to release this energy. You've received the perspective you've needed, and your job is not now to just sit there and analyze this wound, where it came from, how it's affecting you. It's to acknowledge that there was a wound, release the shame or fear that's kept you in this holding pattern for so long, because you don't want to experience financial ruin, or you don't want to experience disappointment in creating something and not seeing it turn into abundance for you. You want to be able to release this energy. You don't want to have to keep waiting for this, like, for life to not be painful. It's like, no, it's not painful. Like, you have to get that perspective that you have actually healed those things that would give you this lack mentality. What can I do right now to soothe myself? Ugh. I have to cover her buns up. We have the Ace of Pentacles and the Fool card coming out. So this is in our headspace. This is all of those ideas that are our hidden assistants. They really do indicate the wealth that we have. And we're starting with this abundant mindset, which means that exactly that thing that we need to release. You are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. You are absolutely capable of handling finances. You're absolutely capable of creating wealth and tuning into your abundance and sharing it and attracting it to you. 12:22 on the clock. You need that fresh mindset about wealth. The idea is that, if you get a lot of wealth, you're going to cause a lot of sorrow. That's another thing that people associate with wealth. Like, people who have wealth, they say negative things about them. Like, they don't care about other people, and all they care about is themselves. And so they're selfish, and they don't deserve the wealth that they have. And if you're chiming in on those things, or if you have felt that judgment against self, you need a fresh slate, fresh ideas about how you handle the wealth you have now and the wealth that's coming towards you. Oh, this isn't the Fool, it's the Star. I thought it was the Fool because the Fool card also, I have to cover the butt up for that one too. But that's even actually more interesting, because that's the idea that you're fully healed too. So the blank slate thing must be coming with the fresh start energy of the Ace of Coins. But the Star energy is another layer there, which you have a lot to offer and to shine. And there's your wishes and your dreams being fulfilled by this wealth that you're able to envision right now in the present moment. So The thing that's coming to me that I will say sometimes is if you're only a little bit sick, you only want to be a little better. But if you're a lot sick, you want to be a lot better. So if you have a large amount of debt, it's actually more motivating for you to increase the amount of wealth you would make compared to your average person. So it's like the sorrows you've experienced have caused you to imagine a vast amount of wealth. And as soon as you come into alignment with what you've imagined, the possibilities are endless because you have seen the bottom, you are going to see the very top. Like that's how the pendulum swings, so to speak. Okay. So this position is what can I expect to encounter as I make space for new energy? We have the Ace of Cups and Temperance. This is beautiful. This is like like feeling like loving the self, taking care of the self, which also was being brought up in the Ace of Coins energy too, that nurturing energy of planting the seed and nurturing it into its fulfillment. So now we have that in terms of being able to have a lot of self-care. It's the turbulent waters finally being calm. There's peace that comes from this energy. There are doves all over here. So, once we actually make space for this new energy, so no longer viewing ourselves as stuck in this lack mentality, we make space to just really have a lot of peace finally in our lives in regards to something that has really seemed to elude us for quite a long time. So let's look at what behaviors have gotten in our way. We're getting the Eight of Wands, the King of Pentacles, and the Nine of Discs in reverse. So this is interesting. I'm hearing waiting for permission because this is what we're needing to release, and this is what was preventing us from getting out of this stuck energy, this pause, this hesitation, this seeing ourselves as somehow broken or needing healing or something. We were just sort of waiting for this permission to really be in our own power, in our own worthiness. We were looking to hear validation from the outside world, and also like somebody giving us permission to enjoy the awards, the rewards that our gifts promise us, and so this was getting in our way. Also waiting for communication from somebody that we were really attached to, and somehow feeling like their influence or their power was going to help you culminate yours. And that's why you've been stuck, because no one outside of self can really bring about the fulfillment of your power. Like you are in charge of that fulfillment. What can I do now to avoid this? We have the Nine of Wands and the High Priestess in reverse. So this is, resisting victim mentality and understanding that you have been resisting your own intuition in regards to the journey that you're on. You have been waiting for the masculine energy inside of self to prove to you that it's healed, instead of believing in this energy being healed and then taking the risks necessary, and trusting in yourself to be able to see this growth of this abundance. You keep doubting yourself, in other words, and it's causing you to isolate. And isolation is, if you're isolating and you're only alone, then you are relying upon your own resources. This can teach you how to be strong, but you're missing out on the ability to tune into the powerful collaboration that comes in the collective that allows us to achieve our dreams faster. There's the Fool. Okay, so it's a different deck, but I called out that Fool energy. So this last position is, what is growing within me as I move on? So as you release this idea that you're broken and you don't think right about finances, or you're bound to lose everything, whatever it is. You are growing within you this throwing caution to the wind type of an energy. We've got the Fool in reverse, which is overly cautious energy, but the heart in this adventurous, I want to just start out. I'm going to try to do this anyway. I don't care. There's nothing that's going to stop me. I'm, heading in this positive direction, and I'm going to explore all the opportunities that I have. And that's why an assistance for you is that you have all these options. You have all these offers because you're no longer going to be cautious and block yourself from exploring them. You're going to start taking all these opportunities. This is saying yes when you've been saying no because you've been afraid that what you do or what you're passionate about really isn't going to work out for you. So that's what's going to happen when you're finally released this idea that you are broken, that your lack mentality is like you're doomed to that. And once you release that, you're making way for all these opportunities to come to you. So let's rebuild now using the Emperor energy. So this is the masculine side of self rebuilding. Once we've released this idea that there's something wrong with us, now there's something right. So what do we do now? The general energy surrounding the masculine right now is the Seven of Cups. Love that. And the Seven of Swords. Okay, now if we were doing a love or romance reading or something like that, these cards would be interpreted immediately as, cheating, choosing other options, blah, blah, blah. But we're not doing that. We're looking at our the way that we rebuild when we have been stuck and feeling like we don't have a lot of opportunity. The rebuilding process is exploring all of our options. So the masculine side of self has to be ready to explore other options. Now, I'm using the Game of Thrones tarot for the heart space here. We have Samwell, who's stealing back the sword that was rightfully his. And this is an unlikely thing for him to do. This is unexpected. His father never thought that he would have the balls to do this, basically, but he goes and he does this and gets the sword back, and it is rightfully his. He steals it right from out from under the nose of his father as he leaves their home. So there is this sense here that the masculine energy has to figure out a way to get what is rightfully his. Now, I could see this as being a bit problematic, and it's probably why there is this sense of confusion for him, because it is not up to us to figure out how. It is up to us to feel intuitively the path to the thing that we desire, which is basically laid out before us by that higher version of self. Like, it knows where to find it, okay? So the hidden assistance right now that we have for this energy is the Seven of Wands in the headspace and the Hierophant in the heart space. So we have Varys, if you're a Game of Thrones fan. Also, I'm using the Labyrinth tarot with this. I think these both look so cool together. But it's also an example of like a brilliantly done deck where people understand the tarot cards and the characters, and one that they just didn't know what was going on in either one of those things. And they made a deck anyway, and we're all kind of like, okay. But the art's cool. So anyway, Varys as a character is the master of whispers. Like, he is the one who hears all the secrets, and he has all these little birds that feed him these secrets throughout the realm. And this is how he is able to manage the game behind the scenes. Exactly that energy of something happening behind the scenes. And the Hierophant, of course, is the higher power, the authority, the tradition. It's the spiritual journey itself. The Seven of Wands is about standing for something. It can be about being defensive and kind of like in this case, I think it can be about healthy boundaries. But in this case, what I really think is that what's really helping the masculine is standing his ground and having faith that there are things happening behind the scenes that are helping him to find his path to where he wants to go. So as long as you are honoring your that faith that what you are being called to do, your spiritual calling, standing firmly in that feeling of this is my calling, then that will help you to see your way along that path, because that is what you need to have in place to find your way to that abundance. So what past experience challenges me in this rebuilding process? Okay, so what challenges me? We have the Magician. Hi there. Thank you so much. I hope you're well. I am well too. Thank you. I am doing pretty well. We have the Eight of Spears, the Eight of Wands, and the Magician. So this challenges us. So in the past, the communication that the masculine side of self engaged in was manipulative. There was this underlying desire to direct or control, and this disregard for the co-creator aspect of the Magician card. This feeling of like, I will say the right things, I will communicate the right things, and I will be able to control the flow of abundance. And this is also about the way you spoke about what you do, spoke about what you were creating, or communicated it. So you may have had trouble communicating what was magical about what you do to be able to attract the abundance that you need. You may have communicated your doubts to others inadvertently without meaning to. But this has challenged you in the past. So how you speak about what you are creating has challenged you. So if you're creating, like for me, creating a new record, and I talk about how it's expensive, or how when I released a song, like nobody heard it and I released it into a void, or, like it's what are you saying about what you are making? That is already determining its return on this investment or not, right? So what can I do right now to build my confidence? We have the Two of Pentacles and the 10 of Pentacles. So this is the Two of Pentacles is about making a decision or changing something in some way, changing a cycle of behavior, in particular one that has happened for a long time, back and forth and back and forth. The 10 of Pentacles is about all of that wealth and abundance and prosperity. And this is in your head and this is in your heart. So changing your mind about what actually makes you happy in the material is important, because your heart is already tuned into some kind of a prosperity or abundance, and it can feel that it can come from something, but your head is not necessarily convinced that whatever it is that you feel this abundance is going to come from is actually going to result in abundance. So you have this doubt, again, this back and forth in your mind. I feel wealthy. So it's like you say affirmations, but they're hard to believe. And that's okay. You're just supposed to keep saying the affirmations, not to get the things that you want, but to get comfortable with how it would feel to say things about the state that you want to be in all the time. So normalizing something that feels very foreign to you. Like every single time you say, I am loved, from that first point in time when you really didn't believe it, until the moment that you're actually standing in front of the person that you are loved by and vowing to be with them, you have shifted your mind from I am not loved, I am unloved, I am not chosen, I am not picked, to I am loved. The same thing is happening here with wealth. It's going from I am poor to I am wealthy, which is a massive leap, and it feels uncomfortable until it starts to feel normal. Now, we normalize toxicity and traumatic behaviors all the time. So it's absolutely possible to normalize something that is extremely good just as you can normalize things that are extremely bad. And it takes repetition, exposure to others who are in a good place and experiencing wealth and abundance and prosperity, but it's absolutely within your power. What possible future challenges could arise? We have here the Two of Swords and the Nine of Cups. So this is not wanting to make a decision about our wealth and prosperity. So this is I have this happen all the time. This is the best example I can give of the energy I'm feeling from these two cards coming together is I make money through the week, and I have like a payment coming up, let's say 3 weeks away from the date that I'm making money. My payment is not due, and I will absolutely make the abundance I need between that point, that first week, and that fourth week. I will make everything I need to make that payment. But my self-doubt that I need to change will potentially put me in this holding pattern where I'm unwilling to spend anything on myself, get my nails done, or buy something quote unquote frivolous, because just on the off chance that I won't make enough, then I might not have enough when the time comes. So I don't want to make a decision about money until the money is there. And then when the money is there, then I'll share it. Then I'll give it. Then it'll be fine. But I have to wait until I have that sense of security, not realizing that it's the sense of security that gives me the abundance that I would need to not have to feel like I can't share it. And so that's the challenge here, where when you are in a holding pattern and you are trying to figure out how to feel abundant, you tend to cut yourself off from all of the activities that would make you feel abundant and increase your wealth. And you have to navigate that. Doing something that brings shame causes more shame to come to you. Not feeling ashamed about doing something that there is no shame to have of doing, that frees up the energy so things can flow to you. So it's this dance. There's a lot of dancing going on here for this rebuilding process. What past behaviors have destabilized me? Oh, Page of Feathers and the Three of Coins. So yeah, you have not liked looking at what you're building. You've just kind of like, this energy, that the possible challenge, just sort of closed your eyes, put a blindfold on. You're just like, well, I hope that I can make this work, but I'm not going to look at it. I don't want to see it, because if I look at the 3D and the 3D shows me that my wealth isn't there, then I'm not going to believe in my wealth, because I have to see it in the 3D to believe in it. So I'm not going to look at my 3D at all. Now, this is this dance, right? Because if you're constantly checking your bank balance all day long out of fear, then your bank balance all day long is, probably diminishing because you're worried that it is. If you're checking your bank balance for the purpose of being thankful that you have 22 cents in it. So I started to have a new reaction when I would get to this point where I would be like, God, I don't like this feeling when I get to this point and I can't pay for something that I need to pay for, or, there's like, I don't have any money. I have not actually been in a place recently where I have not had any money at all. And I have always had like the ability to buy food. And so there's a lot of things that in the past, I honestly would be like, I am homeless and I don't have food. Like, that's happened to me. So I have entered into a place where that no longer happens. So if I look at my bank account and I only had 22 cents after I paid my car payment, instead of being like, this always happens to me, I'm always like, once I get the money I need, then it's just gone. I look at my bank account and I'm like, oh shit, you had 22 cents left. Oh my God, like, you should be thankful for that. Like, in the past, that was negative sometimes. Or, there was just a 0 looking at you. But this time you had 22 cents left, and you've had times when you didn't. So just be thankful that you have 22 cents right now and you're fine. And there's going to be a payment coming in tomorrow because you somebody just booked a reading today. So it's going to be fine. And I actually had well more than 22 cents in my account, but I don't know why I said that. But that is just that idea of like having only a pittance, but a pittance is more than you had in the past and being appreciative of that. So if you're looking at your bank balance to say thank you, then your bank balance is growing. If you're looking at it to say like, oh shit, then your bank balance is probably going to get smaller, if not into the negatives. And you're needing to do that dance of seeing reality as a thermometer, like giving you a temperature, right? How healthy am I? Okay. I got a really high fever here. My bank balance is 22 cents. I'm probably still, probably still need to take medicine. I probably still need to shift my mindset into a healthier state. But at least I know because I was running the risk of not having any sense of where I'm at and not knowing what I might need to shift. And that was causing me to make these choices that was then putting me in the situations where I was spending more money than I was making, and all these kinds of things are going on because I'm not conscious at all, because I'm delusional, but not in a good way. The delusion you want is not like, oh, I'm going to have, $40 million to buy the building in New York that Anna Delvey wanted, or just believing, like being delusional about the law, being like the law of assumption is that if I keep assuming, this will happen, right? That's the delusion. It's not just that you're like not living in the 3D, and it is hard. It is a delicate balance. So what can you do now to avoid this energy and stabilize? I love that we're getting two feminine energies here. The Empress and the Queen of Pentacles, who is literally the theme for this whole reading, and she's out here again. This is the third time we've seen her out of 5 decks. There she is. It's pretty amazing. And did we get her in the fountain? No, just here. All right, but so what you should do right now to avoid this not looking at the 3D, and also another thing is not working with others. This is also not collaborating, not using the resources that might be around you to rebuild. But this is tuning in to that, all of that wealth of ideas and abundance and creativity that you had, and to the power that you have to continue to keep being creative and keep generating wealth. Like, there's a feeling that I sometimes get that there's not more coming, which is just the weirdest thing. Why would, if I'm nurturing it and I'm feeding it and it's growing, why wouldn't there be more coming? That's this lack mentality that I was set to have in order that I would be a good consumer for this capitalist society, right? That it's an illusion. The state of lack in our, like, the food shortages thing, how are there food shortages when we're throwing away so much food? So there is a state of lack created in order to encourage paying for things. It's a mindset. It's not a reality. And it's tuning into the abundance of the fertility and abundance that exists all around us all the time, and that you have the power to command it. And from the masculine perspective, how do I avoid this, just kind of not like refusing to like actually be present in reality? It's to go into the feminine energy. It's to like ground the self in the feminine energy and bring that and give that as much value as you do the headspace. What future prospects do I have to look forward to once I rebuild this and stabilize? Well, all right. We've got the Page of Pots, or the Page of Cups, and the Two of Cups. So this is actually being able to have an emotional payoff from all of the labor that you've put in. This is being able to experience like a physical union with the things that you're trying to create, the things that you're just dreaming about or imagining when you were young, actually having that physical experience of it. So that car that you always wanted to try. Like, I think what's really interesting is I've always wanted a Bentley for some reason for like a long time. I don't even know why. I like them. And like I live in a very small town. People here do not have a lot of income. And I used to live in Los Angeles and I would see Bentleys and stuff, you know, periodically and all kinds of expensive cars, but you're not going to see as many cars like that in my town. And I moved back here for the summer to raise enough money to move into a place in Massachusetts with my son who goes to school there. And parked my Jeep in my driveway, went inside, mind my own business, come out one day, and in the driveway right next to my car, so it looks as if our cars are parked next to each other, is a green, which is my favorite color, Bentley. A Bentley in my small town. This is a dairy farming community. And he also has a Jaguar and he has a couple. So he's a car guy, he's a car enthusiast, and that must be why he has a Bentley, but also, and so every time I go to get in my car, I always think about that Bentley. And I started to tell myself, that's my car. But I just don't drive it as much as I drive my Jeep. Like I drive my Jeep a lot in this area because it's like a wintry area and, you know, but that is my car. That's my car that I use in the summer. And I'm just not using it right now at this time of year. Like manifesting that physical experience of that thing being in close proximity to, you know, not that I even need, and I don't care if I ever have a Bentley, but I like them. And the idea that I could have enough abundance that a Bentley wouldn't be that big of a deal for me to purchase is an exciting thing to imagine. That's that helpful hidden assistance, right? Me from a small dairy farming community in northern New York, from the deep south of the New York, in the center of, you know, like an economically depressed part of the country. I imagined someday having a Bentley, and somehow I now get into my car next to the one parked in my driveway. So there's, you know, you prove to yourself that by dreaming about it, you can bring it into your proximity. But you have to tune into that abundance that is really the abundance of all the things that you can think of or imagine. That's really what gives a person a sense of wealth. That there's always something they can imagine doing that will help them to get out of the situation they're in, or that they can be creative about where they're going. All right, let's look at our final cards here just to get our last bit of advice. Let me see. I guess we'll do it in this order then. So what we need to know for body and mind, this is the mustard card number 29. This is the fall energy. So I think this is right now in our present moment. The mustard seed is a symbol of unseen strength. In Germany, it is encouraged for a bride to sow the seeds into the skirts of her wedding dress so that she may maintain strength and power in her new household. Your thoughts and needs are being overlooked by others right now, but don't forget that you have the ultimate say in your own happiness. Drink from the cup of courage and cut out that which would take your happiness away from you. Look out for yourself first and foremost. So that is your advice. Like that's a pay yourself first kind of an energy that's coming from that card. And it's interesting because that is sort of embodying that Queen of Pentacles energy. You have to nurture yourself first before you can nurture anyone else. And then you're getting this blackthorn energy. This is revitalizing your experiences with abundance and prosperity and lack. This says, you know where you're going. You've got a plan in place and everything feels like it's on course. But with the appearance of blackthorn comes icy hailstorms. Closely linked to Kaliak, goddess of winter, the blackthorn is a tree of strife that has a different idea of what's best for you. An unexpected change is coming your way, ready to interrupt even your best laid plans. Stay on your feet and be ready to react quickly. One wrong step will see you swept away. But if you're canny and heed this warning, you may still come out on top. So I take warnings with a grain of salt. When I get a card like that, what I'm told is, or what I'm read from it is not like there are these things lurking to get you. There's nothing lurking outside of that doubt that we saw. So this is just that assertion that you have to really nip that doubt in the bud, because it will come back to haunt you and try to convince you that there isn't abundance here, that it is winter, that nothing's going to grow. And you've got to weather that storm. Know that it is temporary. The winter is temporary. There's always spring. And just don't let that doubt pull you under. Your mindset that you do need to cultivate is the key to prayer is to forget what I think I need. So that's what that first card that I did the whole time. I asked you, what did you think would make you feel better? We went into it. You felt it out. You felt the essence of what it was. And then I showed you what you actually needed. And it may have been much different from what you thought you needed. And tuning in to what you need is not necessarily rejecting, like being like, oh, I just think I need that, but I don't. It's actually doing that extra step I had you do today, which is go into the feeling of receiving the thing you think you need. What feelings do you have? Those feelings are what you actually need. And getting those feelings come from many avenues, right? There are many paths to the essence of the feeling that you are wanting. You have convinced yourself that there is only one path, but forget about that one path, because I am a higher power and I can see all paths to the thing that you need. Trust me, maybe there's a shorter path, a quicker path, a safer path, a more joyful path. Maybe there's a path that takes you on a cruise through the freaking Bahamas, bitch. Like, will you let me show you the path and let me show you the way, and don't think that for a moment that you know every single thing? And my Leo self is like, what is there in this world that I could possibly not know, though? Okay. And then we're getting Owl Spirit, the protection message. You see clearly now. Now, with all those 7 of Cups, there's definitely some fogginess going on. I'm getting crown chakra pressure from that too. And this says, are you feeling overwhelmed and overpowered by all that you are sensing? Are you highly sensitive right now and in information overload, feeling too much and taking in too much stimulation? The antidote for overwhelm is to become grounded and return to your safe nest, so wisdom can offer you clarity and guide you on managing the flow. Take a break to ground yourself in the reality of your everyday senses. Go for a walk in nature. Perhaps you can stop to lie on the ground or hug a tree, or just stroll down the street beneath the soothing sky so that you can regroup and clear your energy field. Your wisdom and ability to make sense of all you are feeling and experiencing will return as Owl Spirit reminds you of your need to get clear. So I definitely think that gaining clarity about what you really want to do with all this abundance that you are seeking will be something that will help you attract the abundance more than trying to figure out how to get it. Like, why do you want abundance? Do I just want a Bentley? Like, is that why I want the abundance? Or what does the Bentley represent? Luxury, freedom, a freedom from concern about how I spend my money. But then there's a part of me that tugs on that and like, well, that's privileged. What about the people who could use that money and you're going to spend it on that thing? So there's noise and chatter that's still in there. There are limiting beliefs that are still in there that are telling me things about wealth or abundance that if I start to try to get clarity about my abundance, I can kind of find the exact points in my consciousness that block me from believing I can receive. And yes, it is hard work, but well worth it. And here's your theme for this week, the Knight of Swords. So more clarity coming. And this is coming swiftly, and it comes from looking clearly at what you are doing and not avoiding it. And following a strategy that's implemented by the Queen of Swords. Right now, the Queen of Swords came out in reverse. She's not implementing, or she's not designing strategies. She's overthinking them. So she's not like allowing inspired strategy to occur to her. She's like thinking of every single possible future outcome. And most of them aren't really that great. Like, what if you just start assuming good things will happen instead of assuming bad things will happen? What if you say, for everything that you think, what if you say maybe? So, like, what if you're like, oh my God, well, like tomorrow nobody's going to book readings, and then everybody's going to stop booking readings, and nobody will book one, and I won't get any personal readings or donations, and I'm going to have to get a regular job, and I won't have time to do this anymore, and I won't feel good anymore, and then I will stop caring about my life, and I'll want to die. And you could be like, maybe. And then you could be like, well, maybe I actually get even more donations tomorrow and I don't even need to do any personal readings. And then I have a lot more time for collective readings. And then I reach a lot more people. And then a lot more people start following me. And then a lot more people decide to become members. And a lot more people do this and that and the other thing. Maybe I have another catastrophic event happen and it doesn't work out. Maybe something could, like... There's no sense in always assuming things that are going to happen are going to be bad. There's no sense in getting your expectations up so high that when really realistic things happen, pragmatic things happen, you're constantly in a state of disappointment, disillusionment. Just start approaching your life with a little bit more maybe. Like, maybe that would be a thing. That would happen. Maybe that could happen. Like, and then it would be an experience you had. Maybe I'll like this movie. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll like this cake. Maybe I won't. Maybe. I guess the whole point is finding out if I do or not. All right, that's all she wrote, folks. I hope that helped you today with the way that you're processing your thoughts regarding prosperity and lack. The spread that I just did for you is called the Release and Rebuild spread. I use this spread not just for finances, but for any type of release that you need to go through. It can be in regards to another person, a behavior, an addiction, something, a habit you're trying to break. And if you're interested in that, you can click the link below if you're watching this on YouTube, or in my profile. You'll find a place to book personal readings. And there you can book the Release and Rebuild spread. It is pre-recorded or virtual, because any readings over $100 can be done as virtual, in person, or pre-recorded, whatever your preference is. There is also smaller pre-recorded readings there, starting at $33. There's the Tell Me Everything spread, which is $44. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera. I'm just putting these cards away so they're not under my arms. Okay, there we go. And there is a new 30-minute custom reading that does include a meditation, just like the Tell Me Everything spreads that I do for the $44 one. But the $30 custom reading is whatever you desire. So it can be, we can discuss what kind of spread you have or what your needs are. Or if you saw me do a certain spread online before and you're like, I want this one, that's a good option for you. And there's also an hour-long session there as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's everything. I will be back later this evening at 8 p.m. To check into the collective energy on TikTok Live. I will also hang out with y'all and do readings if you are interested in them. I am going to offer readings for a little bit longer over on TikTok right now. So if you're here on YouTube and you want to hop over there, catch me over there. Otherwise, I will see you, if you are a member, tomorrow. There will be the Tell Me Everything spread will be available for replay, as will the Learn Tarot and Divine Tune-In. That's taking place on TikTok tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So I will see you there, or next week on Monday. Have the best weekend. Take care.